Hi Gemini, this is your Virgo season September 2024 reading. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version of this reading, which will be in the first link below at the time this comes out. I was just trying to see if you can see it on camera and you can't, which is really funny and weird. Centering yourself, finding your center after and while in this Mercury still in Leo. It may have been difficult. You may have had to hear some things about yourself and about what's come out from this Mercury in Leo transit in the retrograde. Time. It's, of course, a big question and will be on our minds as Saturn reverts back into Capricorn. So I'm like, I feel like just like hair on my body. Sorry. And so for Gemini rising specifically, this has been emphasizing the third house for you. But this will also affect other Gemini placements. The emotional strength that it takes to expand your life is being able to also take the strains that come along with it, because they're not there to harm you. They're rarely ever there to literally harm you. And if there is a time where something does literally harm you, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. However, I do believe there is this sense of strength and this learning through every process that we go through. And whatever's been heavily on your mind will and has whatever you've needed to address, if you allow, can come out this month. And this month you're maybe thinking about, the times that you may have said this or communicated that, and all these weird little nuances are coming up to not just to resurface for the fucking fun of it either. It's just to resurface to have you resolve them, because things have come out recently. Maybe you've had to hear some things about yourself that don't necessarily feel true, but along the way, they might as well just be. But how much you also allow others to affect your mind and affect your heart. And the support that you actually need right now is highly emotional. And you need to be able to confide in people and be able to communicate with people in a way where it is you're communicating your strengths, but you're also acknowledging your weaknesses. And right now, that is all being cleared up. This is justice. This is clearing up in a way of Venus entering Libra. Venus has already entered Libra by the time I do this reading. And we're approaching the new moon and the retrograde happenings over the weekend. This will probably be out on the days of the happenings, of the Z happenings. And for most of you, for Gemini rising, sorry, I'm just taking a look at my notes. This is about what also is opening up and how it relates to where you've been blocked creatively. You felt a flow for a while, but then all of a sudden this started happening, and we don't always see it in foresight usually it's hindsight, or at the time that something is happening, where we connect to our awareness and the realization that the block is coming from the fact that maybe whatever you've needed to communicate, or whatever you need to process and take in and the information, and give yourself the time to do so. And now Venus entering Libra, Gemini risings in your 5th house, and we'll also, of course, look at this intuitively, is that it's coming in to show you and rebalance these areas. And this may also mean that you need to communicate to yourself whatever doubts and fears are holding you back, whatever is getting in your way, whatever has stopped you. So this is what Venus and Libra is bringing up. It's bringing up where you've been in control, or kind of demanding you give a certain energy, that you produce a certain way. And even if that's the way you want to be, even if that's the way that makes sense for you and that is your authentic self, there's something about this justice, the obligatory aspect of Libra, but you are exceeding and expanding the bounds. Mars is still in Gemini, and there's so much happening. You need to quiet the mind. It doesn't matter if you feel like there's still a party going on, there's still so much to do. For some of you, this is about strengthening in your narrative in the mind. For those of you who have FOMO, is that realizing that wherever you need to be right now, it's like showing up to a party knowing something, you have deep anxiety, knowing that it's probably not the best for you, but you need a distraction from what's really underneath, right? That's very Gemini of you and very air sign of you. Actually, there could be a lot of signs involved in this. But what's becoming very clear, that almost right away, and that's why I'm going to put this out sooner rather than later, is that this feeds, you can see how easily this feeds into that narrative, that you need to show up this way, or do, or be, or go here, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, this is causing maybe more harm than good. This is the overhaul of the emotion. This is bringing up emotions. This is an opportunity to see beyond where I have confined myself in my terms of creativity or romance. If those of you are finding out something about a partner, especially if they are Leo or during the Leo season and the Leo transit, then you're waking up to this thought of either moving on alone, finding your independence in this way, or really detaching from the thought of anything, if it's a collaboration, what it would look like, even though your heart was set on something, what it looks like what happens to the thing that you're deeply attached to, and what happens to you in the long run. Sorry, hold on one second. Just don't want anyone to disturb us. Okay. And that's giving you, it doesn't feel like it at first, but it's balancing out your heart scales too, especially if you've been over giving and it was a way in which you thought you would get quick results and you didn't realize at the time, but now you see. And now what moving forward looks like is giving yourself this opportunity, giving yourself the view, giving yourself a moment to not think about who or what or where or why and when. Just think about the vision, to take a beat, take a second. We're in your fellow Mercury sign, where yes, this for some of you, and if this is the negative side, it sucks for the moment. And for those of you experiencing something positive, there's still this energy that's demanding you to focus and look at something. And to take a look at where your daily interactions, what does your day-to-day life look like in terms of creativity and being interactive and with the awe and wonder of it all. And also Saturn is retrograding back into Capricorn, which can very much oppose the energy that you're needing to go in. So it's defying even that. Like at times, like you have to remember at all times that you have the will, regardless of the cards, regardless of astrology, you have the will. And judgment here is saying like there is power in what you're seeing, and the reason why that maybe you've been avoiding it or needing to go through this much to get there is, as always, is that you're creating the space in the room in your life to not only see what you're capable of, what's possible, but also to hold space for the emotional feeling of it all, of the positive, if that's something that you're not used to. Or even just being and having some kind of independence from the family, from whoever you've been associated with for X amount of years. This is you breaking free in a way in which that it's been taking up space in terms of, overstimulating your mind just to have something to talk about at the party or to gossip with your friends or do whatever. And what's being brought to your attention is that that's actually distracting you from facing what it is that has been a very big imbalance in your life. And now you get the very subtle yet powerful push of Virgo season. Hey, how about it? Look at this shit. Look at it, Gemini. Who would have fucking thought the clearest reading, or the most concise reading of the month? I love it. I love how much you surprise me. Let yourself surprise yourself, because you will find that this month too. Especially because Uranus is going retrograde in your house of subconscious. So if things aren't working out with people, letting it be, letting yourself process, letting yourself understand, noticing what comes up next. You're gaining deep insight into how you are going to take risks moving forward, especially with, when we'll get actually more into that, into the second part. Actually, we'll take these out. You'll have a push, you'll have support. You have support from the ether, you have support from the fact that when you shine the light and you're understanding that this drive is coming from purpose. It's coming from your heart. It's coming from that freedom. It's something that you've known for so long. So you're like, wait, if I got through this so quickly, am I sure? Do I have to double check? It's only because you've known, but you've made the plan, but then you covered the plan. You covered the plan with sticks and stones and concrete and whatever it took to keep it held in, so that you didn't have to address what's been maybe causing a holdup. It's where this Knight of Swords moment, this call to adventure, this deeper call to not just calculating your life or being successful or having, the coolest this, and knowing the need to know before you need to know it, or being ahead. It's being right where you are. It's seeing how important it is for you to see that all of this passion, all of this wanting to push forward is not just you wanting to do a very Gemini thing or escape. This is actually a way to deeply engage with the freedom that you're seeking, that to turn right towards it. Uranus retrograde, this may surprise you, just to turn right towards it and address it while it's being offered to you. How rebellious. I don't think any other cards want to come out. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Oh. Because you haven't been giving yourself the proper attention that you've needed as well. And these moments that you're having are shifting the way you approach connection and relationship, and you'll see throughout the course of the month like which relationships are going to move forward with you on this journey, and which relationships may, you know, not cease to exist, but their run, their season may have added up. You know, like you see in like shows that are like regular sitcoms, and they always have like a girlfriend or someone coming in to just maybe spice things up a little, see how they do with the cast, and all of a sudden they're there for a whole season or plenty of episodes, and they become like a part of the cast, but then all of a sudden they're not there, and then you also weirdly enough don't always know, and it's not always impactful, and you forget about them right away. But then there's also this detail of being able to find comfort in the adventure of having to see that this thing that you've been hiding, and it's this deep desire for the adventure of, and this is about the inside. This isn't you going out and adventuring everywhere. No, this is the brave side to really look at maybe the other twin for some of you, but also to see into, you know, the depths of who you are, and to see how to care for yourself. Now, what does caring for yourself look like in this term of freedom? It looks like being grounded. It looks like whatever's clearing out of your heart and you're finding the strength for it, you're finding the bravery to see that this Knight of Swords moment isn't just a rash decision. This is coming from a place that you've been addressing through the whole transit of Venus and Libra. Then once Mercury goes back into Virgo, you'll have more of a plan, or it'll be more solidified. It may be like a surprise to you at first to go through all of this, but then you will give it about a week or so, and you'll see how this is the best thing for you. And you're like, a week? Yeah, it's not distress. It's just you change, like you're nervous. Like, this is the nervous system month. Your nervous system is changing. Your way of living and communicating with people is changing. The way that you care for yourself also has to change. We make one change and we think it's just this one thing, but no, then the truth is that if it really has been the one thing, and that causes a positive effect, it'll transfer and cause a positive effect in every area of your life, even if it doesn't feel positive at first. Because every lesson isn't always smooth. It could be easy, it could be hard, whatever, but it's not always smooth, you know? And this is the nervous system change. This is about your head shifting as well. And being able to balance out means being able to take a step back and noticing that your doubts are coming from the fact that, or that you haven't really taken a look at this bigger picture and how it has caused you make decisions, but there's a discernment that it takes to, even if your way of intending for the future or your goal for the future is to spiritually grow, right? There still will be a path for that. If it's not necessarily money, it's not necessarily a physical action, there will still be a path for it, and for you to come to a place where you have to surrender to that truth. It just becomes overwhelming. It's just judgment. It's like, hear ye. He's dressed for it, you know. You know, he expresses what he sees deeply, and seeing deeply into yourself means acknowledging that there's been a yearning. And if your rib cage or your heart or your back have been going through adjustments, be patient with it. Connect with your mind, with your breath if you can. Seek help. Some of you may seek external help, deeper guidance. For some of you, that could be this reading. And also check out the next part. That was not just a segue, but definitely if you feel connected, please check it out. They get really good. Take a look back, I promise. Oh, sorry. I'm enjoying how soft it is, but it's just like so 90s where it just doesn't matter. I'm just really fidgety, and I'm just allowing myself to be accepting of that more and more. So if you also get that, that's probably why it's showing up here and you're reading more. Sometimes I redo readings because I just can't stop touching my hair and stuff, so whatever. You're gonna see where your heart really belongs to, and you'll realize where the ego has been and where it had lied, and maybe how much you cared about what certain people thought of you too much, and you didn't realize it was influencing these other areas. It's so strange. Like, this is for anyone who's had like major crushes, almost obsessive, has gone that far, as you know, where you can do so many things just to get the attention of someone, then you realize it just seeps into your life, and you take a look back and realize that, you know, that really wasn't a part of who you are. It changed you, it transformed you, but it was for an outcome, right? And then we have to peel back the layer and see what our desire is really, what we're really looking for here, and this perspective, and engaging with the present and what that actually looks like, and if that does brings you into your mind too much. Again, being around people this month can be helpful or harmful, and you just have to allow yourself to be honest with yourself in the moment. So if you show up and you decide, okay, I can only be here for a certain amount of time, practicing a self-trust habit is to say, I'm going to leave at this time, and like really do that for yourself so that you create trust in your brain, which is what you can really use right now, especially between this connection that is filtering out and continuing to forge a deeper path into the nervous system. Like, you're not just taking the risk because it's fun, you're taking a risk because it means something to you. You know, you're not just getting a tattoo, you're getting something, a piece of art, you're creating something because it really means something to you. Not that you never did that, but this is different. And Mars and Gemini brought all these different things to your attention, and once Mars moves into Cancer, it'll become a lot more clear through your intuition. So pay attention, Gemini. It will relieve you from some old patterns of what you've accepted and allowed yourself to accept, and how you have to acknowledge both sides. It's important. It's the evolution. Okay, I'm excited to get into the next part. Meet you there. All information is below. I'm running a special on the new moon, half off any of my services. Take a look, and I'll see you next month.